For those in attendance and UFC fans watching around the world, this is the moment you've all been waiting for. Live with the best father and son team on the internet. It's time for Homie and the Dude.
What is up, everyone? This is Homie and the Dude, the father and son MMA and TTRPG podcast, and the destination for the best NPCs in the entire flippin' universe. And we are delighted and honored to have Mason Jones, the lightweight contender in the UFC. This is our second in-studio podcast, and I cannot tell you how delighted we are to have you here. Mason, how are you doing, man?
Well, pleasure, obviously, to be over and to be invited down. It's not far from where I live, and it worked out well with my plans today anyway, so worked out well. But yeah, I'm good, and yeah, I'm excited for the podcast.
Hey, we're super glad. I was just saying to our team, who are just out of frame at the moment, how excited we were to have you. You know, you're a UFC contender. You're a black belt in 2 martial arts. You're an absolute 3 now, is it? Incredible. There we go. 3 martial arts, and you know. I said, I'm excited to be this close to greatness, was what I said to the team earlier. I was like, it's one of those things where it's rare that we get to meet people who are so dedicated to what they do and who put so much in to their passion that I was just like, I'm really excited to speak to you today. What I want to start off by asking you is, you just came off a big win in the UFC. What did you do after your win? You were in Vegas. How did you celebrate? What was the evening after the fight like? So, what did you get up to?
We finished about 1 o'clock in the afternoon.
Yeah,
obviously, the fight card was really early, so by the time we hit the medical reports and different things and did my interviews, you literally just get kicked straight out of the venue. Like, before you fight, all your kit is taken to medical. When you're finished, they take you to drug testing and medical, and then straight from there to interviews. And then as soon as you're done, they basically escort you onto the bus and they ship you off. So they just want everyone to clear out. So we left, we went back to the room. Obviously there was no isolation bubble this time. It was the first Vegas card they've done without an isolation bubble full time. So the only time you're in isolation is after weigh-ins and then before the fight. So as soon as we was done, we ordered takeaway into their flat. Into the accommodation. So I had Chinese food, which is nice. I've been dieting hard, it's always crap. So we had a good Chinese meal. I put all on the business card again. I had a shower, got changed, and then we went to the Strip, which was the first time this time in Vegas. And I made reservations in Sushi Samba, which is in one of the hotels, I can't remember. Next to the Venetian, I think it is. It's one of the ones to the right of the Venetian. So
the Wynn, is that the one? There's
no,
one
it's not the Wynn.
Okay.
It's close. It's close. So yeah, we made reservations in there, and we literally just had like a bit of a chill night. Afternoon, went back then, picked some stuff up from the outlet, went back to the room, and tried to get some sleep before we was flying on the next day. Unfortunately, every time I fight, I never sleep. So weigh-ins, I didn't really sleep. I had a good night's sleep, which was the best night's sleep I had the entire camp before the fight. Fought, and then I slept for an hour and a half, and 2.5 hours, and then when we was traveling, I slept for an hour and a half. So I slept about 4 hours in the 2 days. So by the time we got home, and I got to see my girlfriend finally for the first time in 6 months, I was tired. But yeah, it was a good trip, and the fight didn't go anywhere near to plan. There was a lot of things that I wasn't happy about, but then there was a lot of things I sort of dealt with I've never had to deal before in that fight, and in the prep. And like every fight is different, and at the minute we're sort of trying to plan out the best approach to it. Personal experiences, because it's a bit like anything. Things that work for you work differently for other people, and things that work well for one person doesn't work for there. And then as I grow older, my body changes. We're like trying to plan like the perfect weight cut, the perfect recovery plan, the perfect amount of this, the perfect amount of that, the perfect amount of training coming into fight week, my weight, all these different things, all these different variables we're trying to control. And I was a little bit sick going into the fight. I had a bit of the flu, so by the time I fought, my gas tank was nowhere to be found. But I got the fight done, I got a win, and yeah, we move on to the next one.
Thanks for watching this episode. We really appreciate you supporting Homie and the Dude.
Please hit us with the Holy Trinity, like our Facebook page, subscribe to the YouTube channel, and follow us on Instagram. Just search @HOMIEandTheDUDE. It all really helps. Do you
next
know,
step?
it was definitely, we watched it and we've actually rewatched it since, and
We watched it separately, didn't we?
I was gonna say, we actually watched it separately from each other, and we've just watched it together as well. And it was really great to just see, again, like you said, you've not dealt with some of the things you dealt with in this fight, going up against the adversity and things like that. It was really nice to see you kind of power through and really work your way through that.
So on that, the first thing my boxing coach said when the fight was over was, when they interview, don't tell them I'm your striking coach. So you can imagine exactly how happy they were with my striking. So my side of things on that, I had a little bit of problems with padding out in Team Alpha Male. My coaches couldn't really come out with different things. I was a bit low on funds after the Alan Patrick fight, because obviously the no contest mean I got half my purse, and then I literally I was home for about a week, and I went straight back out to California, paid for a flight myself, and was back in camp there for a August fight. Then it was a September fight, then it got pushed back to October. So it was literally, I did 19 weeks of camp. Hard training, intense training, eating, staying in California, which is expensive, and all these different things just meant that it added extra sort of problems. Like when this fight came up, my opponent pulled out. I remember I spoke to my manager and I said, "Tell Sean, I don't care who it is, I need to fight." And then I was like, "Look, I can't afford not to fight." And that was a position I never wanted to be in. I never wanted to be in a position where I needed to fight for money. I've always been in the mentality that you should never have to fight for money. You should always have sponsors that cover you year round, so that you can always choose the right fights work for you.
Of course, yeah.
Which is perfect if I'm living in the UK. Not so much in California. It added about 40,000 onto my living expenses. So it's just different things that make problems, and all the money I had sort of dried up. So this fight was something I like. It didn't really matter who it was. They could have offered me someone who was ranked. They could have offered me anyone, and I would have taken the fight. So to have a fight, the matchup was perfect for me. It was a one-dimensional striker with zero wrestling, who was strong and athletic, but was coming in lighter than me. So literally everything added up that it was going to be my fight. And when I watched him back, I seen he was slow starting, so I was like, I need to hit him hard from the start. I can get that finish early. And to be fair, I come out, I hit him hard from the start. He reacted better than I expected, and my striking was quite poor in this fight anyway. I struggled with pads and different things, and like I said, I wasn't very well. But these are all excuses, and it doesn't matter. Like I always quote over and over again, which is a quote by the Black Beast, Derek Lewis. Who said, it doesn't matter whether you're 20%, it doesn't matter whether you're 40% or 100%, all that matters is winning. Because all that matters is win on the day. And if you think of people like John Jones, even though he's a cheater, but you look at people like him, Habib, they always won. It didn't matter whether Habib's a good example. I guarantee you some of the fights he fought, he felt 40%, and he still dominated. So we're getting there. But I didn't feel good, didn't matter. I come out, I started strong. I rocked him really early. His eyes rolled in his head, and I got a little bit gun-ho then, rather than staying controlled like I've done in my Adam Proctor fight, in my Joe McColgan fight, in my UFC debut, even though obviously again that was one of the days I didn't really perform well. I got a bit gun-ho, and I sort of threw a bit wild, and I remember we clinched up and he grabbed onto me, and he wasn't strong. I just remember that I just couldn't breathe. I took a deep breath in and nothing would come in, and it's the first time where my gas tank was just non-existent in a fight, and that's out of 14 or 13 pro fights, however many I've had now, all my amateur fights, which MMA record I think there's down for one, but there's about 3 or 4, and then all my judo fights, which are hundreds and hundreds of bouts, jiu-jitsu fights, kickboxing bouts. Like I've been competing since I was 7, 8 years of age. So I've had hundreds of fights, and I've never struggled with my gas tank in any of those performances. So for me, it was new, but I've got highly level wrestling, and even though I didn't do an offensive wrestling camp, I've still worked with D1 wrestlers, and I have been working with like Andre Feely, like I said, Chris Gonzalez is a D1 wrestler, there's Ryan Loader who's another D1 level wrestler, there's all these guys, so I have been working trying to take them down, as well as my wrestling defense for this fight was magnificent, and I didn't need it at all. But again, I've sort of improved to a certain extent, and I've improved in a certain area that I didn't need. So when that next fight comes along and I tidy up, which is the easiest aspect that I find to improve, which is my striking, then you are going to see these credible performances, and I am going to start making waves, which I should have already.
I fully believe that.
I agree. I mean, well, let's just take a step back. That performance, and even the first 2 performances. I mean, Biz being on the mic that night was touting his belief in you as having championship talent, and it's shown through in different aspects. There has been moments in the previous 2 fights where we got to almost like try to hit a restart on just a couple of those decisions. And there was actually a moment during this Onama fight where I think it was the second round where he puts his hand down on the floor and
I need him in the head.
You need him in the head. And at that point, I'm thinking, oh fuck, Herzog, do not.
Yeah, what was going through your head at that moment?
in that, before the fight, I straight away said to Jason, to Izar, I said, look, I'm a big fan, because I do like Jason's ref, and he's a very good ref. Yeah. And he said, look, and he went through the rules, different things, and he said straight away, he said, look, he said, if there's any time, he said, where your opponent's grounded, he said, I will tell you, but coaches, don't be afraid, just tell him, look, he's down, look, he's up, it's fine. So I was actually looking to his legs, and I was like looking, trying to turn him round, and then as I went to throw the knee, I seen his hand was down, and I tried pulling it, and I need him in the head, but I did pull it enough so that there was no cutting, there was no impact, there was nothing too bad. And I literally looked at him straight away and I went, oh fuck. I said, I am so sorry. I said, and he went, look, it's fine, don't worry about it. And he went, go over there to your side. And I actually went straight to my corner, which is naughty, and was talking to them. And then he was like, stop talking to your corner, and pushed me to and told me to go over the other side. So then I started trying to talk to Bisping while he was on the mic. I was like, oh no, Mike, I've done it again. And he was like laughing while trying to comment. So yeah, it was stupid. And coming back, like that was one of the things my coaches were very, very annoyed about, that I almost ruined another one of my fights. Because again, when I did the pre-fight interview, they said about, oh, you were unlucky for your first 2 performances. I said, no, I said I wasn't unlucky. I fucked up my debut with Mike. There was things leading into that camp I did wrong, and then still it didn't matter. I lost a fight that I could have won easily if I prepared better and if I'd been a bit smarter with my preparation, rather than try and make an impact. If I just slowed down, relaxed a bit, and then just been a bit more prepared, I would have been fine. And when I mean a bit more prepared, I mean if I trained a little bit less. My fight with Alan, everything was perfect. My preparation for that one was perfect. It's the biggest weight cut I've ever done. The biggest I've ever been coming into a fight, and it's the best I've ever prepared and the best I've ever felt. And like my coach mentioned, he said he would have been like to see what I was like in the later rounds, to see how I held up. But he knows as well as I do, I never really struggled with my gas tank, apart from this fight. So that fight was going one way, and I was going to stop Alan in emphatic fashion, and Alan knew that. Obviously, the rematch did annoy me, all the Alan suitcases, because
he didn't want that smoke.
Well, he signed a contract to fight, even though we didn't understand why he signed a rematch contract, because they offered me, I was looking for August, like I said, and then they couldn't get me in August. Then they were September 4th in London, and I had flight due to come back home. Then I had to cancel and stay out there because they said, look, they're moving it to Vegas. And then they were like, look, we can't get you on the card in Vegas now. We want you to fight October 23rd. So I said, who? And they offered me Alex Munoz, who is one of my training partners in Team Alpha Male, also just had knee surgery. So I literally said, look, I'm training with the guy, he's just had knee surgery. I was like, he's out. I was like, so it doesn't even need to be a hard decision or not. He's out, he's injured, he's just had surgery. Like 9 months surgery, there's no way. And he laughed about it and said, I'll fight you with one leg. And I said, yeah, perfect. I said, I want to get paid anyway. So we joked about that. But then they offered me the Alan Patrick rematch. I said, look, perfect fight for me. I said, I want revenge for that anyway, and I want to make sure I get that win ticked off. He signed the contract because he didn't have a choice, and then 10 days notice he pulled out with a cut to his eye. So he had an injury to his eye. The same day he pulled out, the training one this time apparently, the same day he pulled out, he was putting photos on his Instagram. Whether it was old photos or not, he was putting photos up and videos and live videos of his face with no injuries on his eye. Then 5 days out, he's posting saying that he's looking forward to fighting me in Vegas. Together, pre-fight boost to his Instagram, and saying like who was part of the team to travel. So I literally, one of my coaches seen it because they looked at his Instagram, sent to me and was like, look, what the fuck's going on? Because I didn't have an opponent at the time. Said, you fighting Alan or not? So I sent to my manager, sent to Sean, and they were like, look, they'll shut that down straight away. So all of a sudden that got removed. And then obviously he announced that he'd pulled with an eye injury and that he was hoping to fight November the 10th. While all the way through this, he was putting photos up and live stories and different things with no injury to his face at all. So whether there is something going on with his eye that obviously wasn't visual, which is something that I didn't really understand. If you have an injury that can be healed within a week or two, it's usually something that's external, the skin deep. It's not usually something that's actually on your eye, which is going to take longer. So I do think that he made it up because he didn't want to get cut from the UFC. There's no other way out for him, and he didn't want to fight me. So I do think so. But at the end of the day, I got to fight David, and David was a tough fight. And I think I do look forward to seeing his next fight in the UFC. I'm not sure how he'll get on, but I do look forward to seeing his next fight.
I totally agree. I think, you know, he came in looking big for a 145er for sure. Obviously, he weighed in at I think it was 153. Yeah, I was gonna say. So, you know, I can imagine, you know, that again must have been a little bit of a shock coming in. You know, you're expecting him to be smaller and stuff, but clearly, I think the big thing that was the tail of it, and the one thing that I really took away from it that I really loved is how strong you are with your grappling, and it's just unbelievable because even though you said, you know, your gas tank went out.
Well, to this point, I literally got under his chin twice, and my coach was saying, look, why aren't you squeezing? I had an arm triangle on that I didn't squeeze at all, and it was literally because I was that gassed, I just couldn't breathe. So I literally got under his chin, and I remember he had fingers in the gloves and was peeling, and rather than literally just fight it, push my hips through and squeeze, like who's that Chimaev did, with you smash the hips through, you hit some good ground and pound, and you take the neck. Jack Shaw's a perfect example of it. I literally just gassed, I couldn't breathe. Nothing would come in. The second round I watched back, and even though I was throwing shots, nothing was dangerous. I made no position to advance, and I think that's why the judges give him the second round, because there was one exchange he caught me with standing up. Even the scorecards, I think I come out with more significant strikes and more strikes where it was close. Obviously, I had the 9 minutes of control time, so I did control for most of the time. But unless you're advanced position, unless you're being dominant, the judges will not give it to you. And that second round, I was literally just so gassed I couldn't do anything. And like if you watch my existing fights, everything's been a high pace. I've had bigger output, I've had bigger wrestling exchanges, and I can persistently keep it up. So for me, it was a new ground to cover, but it's something that I think we sort of know what the problem is, and I think we can deal with moving forward.
I was gonna say, but irregardless of how low your gas tank was, every moment there was a scramble, you came out with dominant position, you came out on top. Every time there was transitions happening, you were rolling with them beautifully, you were moving perfectly and ending up in the right position. I wanted to actually ask you, because the weight that you put on people from the top when you're grappling, even in a clinch position up against the cage, on the ground, you're so heavy. Is there a secret to like getting that much weight on people? Because you really like weigh down on people and they can't deal with it.
I think my MMA wrestling, as we call it, is probably about a 6 or 7 out of 10 at the moment. You look at like Chimaev and the way he dealt with the leech, I think that's a good solid 9 or 10 out of 10. And like I've still got ways I need to improve. Like how many times I took him down, I think they said I had 9 out of 14 takedowns, even though I don't know where that come from, because I thought every takedown I went for I succeeded on. I don't think any of the takedowns, I don't think he stopped any of them.
Just because he gets back up a minute later doesn't mean he wasn't on the ground.
Like every takedown I went for I succeeded in, but he shouldn't have got back up. The first takedown, it should be 1 takedown every round, that should be the end of it. So my pressure is slightly off. Like I've been working more and more in Team Alpha Male with Andre Fili, Chris Gonzalez, Mike Malott on these wrestling systems to keep people down. And like my wrestling pressure is slightly off, but it is better. I'm better at hanging on people, I'm better on dragging people down, and I'm better on sort of minimalising contact. But like there was times where like I took the back and I fell off, and like these are not the positions I usually struggle with. Like I got a BJJ black belt, I'm a judoka black belt, as well as my striking was off. So these little positions where I wasn't quite performing as well as clean as I should be, and I still dominating in positions easily. Like I said, I didn't fail in 1 takedown. I dominated the wrestling exchanges, and like whether people did think that I did hold him down, I didn't really advance, and I did lay and pray a little bit. That is fair enough, but like standing up, like there wasn't 1 exchange where I got rocked. The second exchange where it did look like he scored well was more so that my balance was off. There wasn't 1 place where I thought, shit, I need to take him down because I'm in danger. It was just more so that I was just like, I'm getting outstruck because I literally just got no gas tank. My hands are by my side, my chin's in the air, my mouth's open because I can't breathe. So it's like, it's just stupid to stay standing up.
Just leaving the button right there to me.
And like my coaches literally said to me in the corner, stop standing up with him, just keep taking him down. You can take him down whenever. Why are you trying to strike with him? And I think that's sort of a pride thing, because I knew I could finish him standing up, and then I'd have like a couple of like seconds of good work, and then again I'd just be empty, and I'm just like, look, you just need to wrestle. And I know I can wrestle while tired. Like I said, I've trained in Team Alpha Male for my camps. They've got some of the best wrestling in the world. So
they do. I mean, 100%. I think it's just one of those ones where it felt like you said, though you were dominant and there were moments, your striking, though you were gassed, was still clean. Like there was one combination that I think was my favorite combination of the fight. You hit him with a beautiful jab to the body and then a huge uppercut, and it just clipped his chin. He just stepped back like at the right moment, and he just clipped his chin. And though you were gassed about it, it was still so slick. It was sharp and it was clean.
Yeah.
And honestly, I didn't think your striking looked as bad as maybe you maybe.
My boxing coach thought, because since I got home, he's been hounding me to train. Like I have got little niggles, so I haven't really been training much. I trained Monday, I trained Tuesday, and then I was meant to train today, and then obviously I was meant to train Wednesday, and then I had a couple of things come up. Thursday, obviously again we were a bit busy, and then today obviously I was down here. So I'm trying to get back into training, but there's some little things I'm dealing with. So Monday I'm hoping to get back properly and to start pushing when I sort of have some more answers, and we can go from there. But like my coach is determined to get me back in the gym, and there's little things we know we can clean up. And like I said, it's all about this getting to this perfect position and this perfect sort of these perfect moments that, like the first round where I rocked him, I should have finished, and that would have been a definitely performance winning fight. And like I make waves, but at the moment they're small. I want to make sure that I'm literally diving through and I'm showing people exactly who I can be. Like I don't want to be one of those guys who are on like a 6 or 7 fight win streak and they're like, oh, who's this guy? I don't really know who he is. Like Habib was on an 9 fight win streak before people really started paying attention. Leon Edwards,
Arnold
Allen's, I don't understand. He's on a 10 fight win streak and no one really cares who he is.
No one even cares. I know it's
harsh to say, but I just he should be fighting for titles and no one really. But then Andre, I spoke to about this, and like he said, like he's had fights where he's lost, and then he's thought, look, it's bad, but at least now I can easy to get fights. And then he's had like 6 months where he's been accepting. They've offered him like 5 people. He's accepted everyone, and they've all turned him down. And it's like, it is hard. People get to the place where they want to pick their own route through, and it's not always that easy. People usually don't want it. Like unless you attract the higher ups' attention in the UFC and you get under Dana's eyes, then it's hard to get fights.
Yeah.
Like
there's 600 people on the roster. For God's sake, that's a lot of people.
And it's, I mean, if you look at Arnold, he is 6th ranked featherweight in the world. So everyone above him is thinking, do I want it? Do I need to take the risk? So unless he's bringing so much buzz around him that the UFC is saying, yeah, you actually have to fight him.
Well, this is one of the secrets that it's not a secret that people don't really understand, and it's something that I've known since we started, and it's something that I've always said in interviews is we're not fighters, we're products, and that's the easiest way to think of it, because fighting's the easiest part. For me, fighting is what I love, but it's all about product management. So like when you see people like who like you have to be pushing your social media, you have to be pushing your hype train. It's like I get these questions like people always ask me like, oh, what do you think about Paddy with like his new deal, like the way he handles himself and things. I said, look, it's amazing to see, and it's amazing to see people do well. I said, obviously, if I end up having the fight, and that's a different cup of tea, because I think I would literally clean up. I thought that for a long time.
I was literally thinking I would love to see that fight. I was just thinking that.
But he's doing so well, and like it's really nice to see him. We're managed by the same team as well, so like it's just nice to see someone do well, and it does open more doors. And it's the same as like when you see other people in your division doing well, and you see people making waves like Sean O'Malley. A lot of people hate on Sean O'Malley for the way he is, but all it does is attract more attention to MMA. Like the Conor McGregors, the different things, like even the Jake Paul stuff, like people always, you see a lot of hate for the YouTubers in fight games, and I've never understood this, because when you get to that top tree movement where you're top of the branch and you are literally, you go have all this power sway, then why wouldn't you fight YouTubers? Like I would love to be in my 30s champion of the UFC, of the lightweight division, maybe 2 divisions. I do like to set my goals high. With all this hype below me, to retire and slip away like Habib did, and then rather than just ride off into the sunset, to go and beat YouTubers up for a few years for millions and millions of pounds. Like, why wouldn't you want to do that? Like, and if you don't believe that these fights, if not fixed and they don't have requirements, like the Conor McGregor and Mayweather thing, there was definitely a clause announced that neither of them would knock the other one out. Definitely. Like these fights, because again, boxing's different. It's not boxing's not a fight sport. A lot of the top division boxing is performance, and it's like it's all about performing to a certain standard, and if you haven't clicked onto that, then you haven't really been watching the fight sports close enough. But that's why I like MMA, because MMA is as real as it gets. Like there's still like there's the odd things where it's like what's his name, the featherweight, there was a featherweight champion, Volkanovski and Ortega, where they had that sort of they sort of had that problem with each other. You know, it wasn't really a problem. I think that was a little bit inflamed more than anything, just to make it more exciting. But when you see them fight the level that they fight at, then you know, like no matter what happens, you know they're out there to trying to take the other one's skull home. Yeah, it's not a fight with two pillows on your fist.
Yeah.
They're trying to decorate the throne, as the best way to put it.
yeah.
I just want to circle back to your striking. I know that you're being pretty critical about yourself, but I also think David Onama, he brought a level of striking that was UFC level. He was switching stances. He was able to to throw combinations here and there. So I actually am interested in seeing how he does in the featherweight division. He doesn't, again, as you said, his ground game probably needs to be worked on. Or he's
wrestling more than anything.
Yeah. I was going to say, I've never seen anyone pass into mount so easily as you were doing with Onama. It was ridiculous.
Sorry, I get excited, I do. This is why my girlfriend tells me off all the time. One of the things I will say is when we watched footage on David, we knew that he had an explosive backhand. He was quite flat-footed, but he had decent kick returns and different things striking. So when he did throw the combos he did, they were a bit more than I expected, but nothing really that was too out of context to believe. And one of the things we did want to be careful was when you pin him down, he's very explosive to get back up. Yeah. He has that explosive athletic build, which means that he is able to explode from random places. So that was why when he did explode, I tried to make sure that I was glued to his hips and I followed positions and I was always ready to mat return him straight away, and that I was always in control, so I didn't let him too far out. There were certain times where we end up separating in exchanges, and he scored in one exchange where he caught me with a few shots as we separated, and that was something unacceptable for me, because it's a way where if someone who was my weight or a bit heavier, because he was definitely lighter in that fight, then there was someone who could have had a bit more power than you. Like Justin Gaethje, for example. Those examples, you can't really walk through shots the way I did. Even though I've got a good chin, it's just not worth it with someone who can bang. Totally. So he was good, but I think in the featherweight division, I've always found there's not really much of a difference between lightweight and featherweight. I found featherweights are usually more endurable. They have better cast tank. They just don't actually have that strength as much as lightweights, but they can usually take it further. Whereas like you look at people like Josh Emmett. Josh Emmett has so much power in his hands that he can knock out lightweights no problem. Andre Feely has unbelievably good wrestling skills. Like you look at these guys coming through, and like at featherweight he is going to be good, but I think if anyone watching that fight at UFC level, they're just going to take him down. His wrestling defense was non-existent.
Yeah. So let me circle back. So in that fight, let's say around the second round. So now you. And I'm just kind of putting myself in your head, because I'm watching the fight and I'm starting to get worried. I'm like, thinking as the fight starts, okay, my wife is next to me and we're watching it, and I'm starting to think, man, this is actually turning into a fight. This is a little bit more than the walkover I was sort of expecting. How are you feeling when knowing that 2 fights into the UFC, you've had some controversial, stuff that's happened that has not represented you to the fullest extent of your skills? You got this fight, last minute sort of fill in. He comes, he's game, and he's bringing a little bit in your mind. Say, second round, third round. How are you? What's going through your mind at that moment?
Where'd you go? Where'd you go in adversity? That's a great question.
There is no adversity in that point. There is no stress. There's no hurry about what could happen. All I'm focusing on is why isn't the fight over with, and what am I doing that is incorrect? And like I said, my gas tank was non-existent. My striking was quite poor because I literally just had no energy to throw stuff. So I'm like, look, you just need to keep him down. You need to maintain position, and then we need to get into a position where if you can't submit him, you can at least start opening him up with different strikes. So I took him down with some good takedowns. I maintained position, and my coach was like, look, make sure he doesn't get back up. I let him back up a few times, but whenever I let him back up, it was no problem, because I knew that he thought he could knock me out. and he knew that he needed to knock me out. So all that meant is his hips were going to be open, so I had to make sure I timed my entries to make sure I made full extent, that I didn't allow him to sprawl. I didn't allow him to break the angle. I didn't allow him to break the hips. So this is why, like my coaches said to me, when you come out, he said, I want you taking him straight down. This is why I didn't, because I needed to make sure that he's no bum. He is UFC material, no problem. So I need to make sure that I time my takedowns well. I made sure I maintain position well. And I am, like, in my eyes, that fight was only ever going to go one way, which is me winning. I should have won in the first minute. If I had been tighter, I rocked him very, very cleanly.
Beautiful job.
And I should have followed up a lot cleaner than I did. And again, like we talk about making mistakes, and I said around the Cage Warriors level, before I fought for the lightweight title, I was making mistakes that in the UFC I couldn't afford to make mistakes in. I made 3 mistakes in 3 fights, and 2 of them has cost me fights. The Mike Davis fight, I made mistakes. The Alan Patrick fight, I poked me, I made a mistake. This fight, I need the guy in the head, I made a mistake. And like, this can't continue, or I am going to get stripped for the UFC when I deserve to be the champion in the UFC. So these are things I'm slowly tightening up and I'm improving. And like that next fight's going to be a bit more relaxed, I think, because I don't have to worry about making up for the Mike Davis fight. I don't have to worry about making up for the Alan Patrick fight. And all it is I'm just going to slow things down. I'm going to be cleaner, and the finish is going to come. And you're really going to start seeing, like I did through Cage Warriors, which was I'm going to start taking people apart. And like the Mike Davis fight, I won the stats, even though my legs felt like they were in lead. I messed up my performance on that, my prep on that, and I still won every single stat. Whether I won that fight or not, I don't think I won. I don't think I deserved to win, because it wasn't the performance I wanted anyway, if they give me that win. The Patty fight, I should have really put him away. Again, he found a way out because I gave him a way out. And in this fight, I should have finished in the first minute. And these are little things that it's just waiting for something to click. And when that click comes, it's going to be beautiful for Highlands. It's going to be.
I'm 100% sure that it will do. And do you know what? I think something that Tom and I spoke about last time we spoke to you, and something I said to you after the interview, is, you know, your level of humility and self-analysis within this is unbelievable. Like, legitimately,
Very rare.
Legitimately, there's some fighters out there that cannot see the mistakes they make because of whatever. It might be ego. It might be that they're not getting feedback from their coaches correctly. You know, there's a multitude of reasons that someone might not be looking at themselves. And I just respect it. I'm sat here while you're talking and just smiling like a fucking chump, because you just inspire me. Like, the amount that you're humble and going, you know what, I need to work on this, and I know I need to change it. And I'm gonna take over when I do. It's just
humility
beautiful.
Humility is the complete opposite of where I am. I'm arrogant to the point where I know I am the greatest fighter on the planet. Easy, the greatest fighter on the planet. All that's left for me to do is to prove that I am. And by the time I become the greatest fighter on this planet, then there's going to be no questions, because I'm going to have ticked all the boxes I needed to. And I'm arrogant to the point where I know that to be that arrogant, I need to correct the issues I make, because you can't have a perfect performance until you correct all the problems you're making. It's like the fact that I poked Alan in the eye wasn't because it was accidental, it's because I opened my glove at the wrong time. I posted on the shoulder and I leant onto him when I literally should have just stepped back, and I should have been driving punches down the centre, and I should have let him up because he was already on his way up. I should have been throwing strikes as he was coming up. I spoke to Andre Fili about this. Obviously, we're in the Andre Fili swag again from the but it's actually my girlfriend's hoodie that I bought for her that I decided to wear out. So but yeah, I spoke.
Ain't no problem with that. I wear my girlfriend's shirt all the time. ain't no problem with that.
So we spoke because obviously he had an eye poke no contest, the same as I had an eye poke no contest. His was a bit more where he dominated the guy. I think the guy wanted the fight, but Andre smashed the guy's face until the guy's eye was swollen up, and then that was why the no contest. And we spoke about it, and one of the things we both agreed on was if the eye poke didn't exist, then the finish would have been over. Like, he dropped the guy where the guy was rocked and then dived on him where he could have just stepped back and had a walk-off KO. And it's these things where you want to win so much sometimes that you do mistakes you don't need. And you have to have that Chimaev level of confidence where he knows he's going to win and he's in control all the way through the fight. And like, for me, I'm getting there. It's just I needed to correct the mistakes I'd made. So this next fight now, when it comes, which sometime next year, I'm going to make sure that I'm the strongest I've ever been. I'm the fittest I've ever been. My striking's as clean as it's ever been. My wrestling's there. My jiu-jitsu's back up to scratch. Because, like, I've been carrying little niggles and little problems since since my Cage Warriors last couple of fights, and it's just I've been snowballing because I needed to secure my foundations. Now my foundations are stable. I've had 3 good fights, 2 2 of them didn't go my way. 1 of them a no contest, 1 of them a loss. But I finally got my win, and I think I am stable in UFC. I'm secure at the moment, so now I'm ready to start headhunting, and I'm ready to start taking skulls, and then I can start calling people out. The people like Cowboy Cerrone I've always wanted to fight, and these top tier fights that I really just want the beautiful violence
of. Incredible, I love it. I just love it.
Well, I think the other thing, I think just kind of building on what you're saying is, there are fighters that will not acknowledge holes. So when I look at your levels, if we look at 0 to 10, you're sitting at 9s and 8.5s and 9.5s across the board, and you are double serious about closing those fucking gaps to 10s, right?
Yeah.
1%.
Yeah, exactly. Whereas some other fighters will say, fucking
this works, why not?
Yeah, this works, so don't break it, or if it works, don't break it. Is that the same?
Yeah, basically. Yeah.
Something like that.
Something like that.
Something like that. But I just love how critical you are of the finer points. So, and this is the difference between someone that wants to just be in the UFC,
wants to make money and survive and be a journeyman, versus someone who wants to be a champion.
Oh, wants to reign. Like I'm destined to reign. That's the easiest way to be it. Like I said before the Adam Proctor fight, I'm a tyrant. That's where I want to be. Someone who takes the crown by force. That's where I've always aspired to be. And it doesn't matter whether they give you a route or whether you think you just keep breaking down walls until you find your way to where you want to be. And I'm surrounded by people who want to make me better. The Adam Proctor fight we talk about, I had a decent performance. I stopped him in 2.5 minutes. I think it was 3 minutes. And he was on a 9-fight win streak, I think. And I took him apart. As soon as I got back, all we did was have critique. My kicking was no good. I remember my girlfriend texted me. As soon as the fight came back, I give her the belt because my girlfriend was the welterweight belt. I said, look, this is for you. And the first thing she said was, if you had got knocked out after throwing that terrible spinning hook kick, I would have had to finish you, or I would have had to stop speaking to my Taekwondo friends. That is the people I surround myself with. And some people won't understand that, but to me, this is why, one of the reasons I love my girlfriend was because I know that she knows what I can do and how I can be. And the pinnacle, like I've always said, I want to be my kick game so strong that I can kick with Olympic level taekwondo fighters. I want to be able to wrestle with D1 level wrestlers. I want to be able to fight jiu-jitsu with world champion jiu-jitsu guys. I want to be able to box, which I do, with Olympic level boxers, world champion boxers. Like, I want to be the best in every area I can be, and like I am beyond committed. I'm obsessed with the sport. Like, I cannot function without fighting. For me, fighting's beyond in my blood. Fighting is what I am, and I am a violent person who loves the chaos of fighting. Like, I'm not a martial artist. I've said this for a long time. I don't do it for the martial arts side of things. I do it for the violence. I love the violence. I love the blood. I love the intentions of trying to hurt someone, and I love the chess game of trying to dismantle someone as quickly as possible.
Do you know what I think? First of all, I'm not sure if you're getting this, but my male testosterone has never been this jacked up at the moment. I'm like, holy shit, I need to go fight a bear right now. Jesus, Mason, you're getting me hyped right now. Honestly, I think you said, it's weird when you hear people talk about, I'm gonna take over, It's different though when, your mentality it just feels different. And this is why I think Tom and I, when we first spoke to you, we fell in love with you as a person and your mentality and the way that you operate as a martial artist, as a villain of violence, or whatever you want to call it. You operate in a very different way, in a way that we believe in you, that you will be the champion one day because of how you operate and how you think and how you perform.
I've got an Olympic sport background, and a lot of people don't understand this because you see where people talk about Olympic sports and the spirit of the Olympic Games and different things. And I thought I never went to the Commonwealth Games. My girlfriend did. She medalled. I never went. I was injured before I went. I never made Olympic Games. Never made a World Games. Never went to anything. I was European level, which in judo is very, very tough. To break through is was ridiculous because I was in the main weight groups as well, where like I compete in European tournaments and there'd be 140 people in my weight category.
Yeah, exactly.
That's 140 people you have to go through in one day. So they get through within one day for a win. So you're fighting 7 fights for a medal.
Like gi rash right there.
Oh, I know. My girlfriend was the same in her weight categories with Olympic Taekwondo. They're the main weight categories, and like you're gonna bleed to get to the top. And like when you're in that aspect of it, there is no Olympic spirit, as they say it. It is literally kill or be killed, and you learn to win by any means necessary. Like my judo coach, who is my wrestling coach and jiu-jitsu coach, who still corners me now, Craig, he is the most brutal in it. After the Alan Patrick fight, by the time we got out of the cage, he was so annoyed with me that he wouldn't speak to me. And then by the time we got to the medical room, which was, they take you out of the cage, into the medical room, he was ready to rip my head off, because after I poked Alan in the eye, even though it wasn't, I poked Alan in the eye, don't get me wrong, but it wasn't bad. He was annoyed because I was the one to put my hands up and said I poked him in the eye. I should have just forwarded it in. Like, it's not my, and like, not to be, this isn't for people to turn around and be like, oh my God, your coach is an absolute villain, like you put it. It's because it's not my job to tell a referee I've done something accidental. It's for the ref to stop it. And the ref will only stop it if it's bad. So like when I fought David, one of the times he needed me flush in the cup, and he said, you okay? And I ignored him and kept going because it wasn't a problem. It wasn't like, who was it? I think, who was it? Barbosa spinning hook kicked someone, Paul Felder. Where he hook kicked him in the cup that hard that his cup split. Like, it wasn't anything on that level. It was a knee which everyone takes, and it hurt, but we're fighting. And like, I want to fight. So like, for me, when that eye poke happened, I should have followed in. So my coach was so irritated with me because I threw the fight away. Because me stepping back and going, I am sorry, should have been me followed in with a combination and hitting him until there was no point for him to complain.
Till there was no decision.
The referee didn't see it, the commentary didn't see it. Like, I understand people speak about all the honourable thing to do, but this isn't a martial arts fucking duel. This is a fight to basically decide who is the best fighter. And for that, you just have to win. There is no, how they did this, how they did that. You just have to win. Like, if you watched the fights on this weekend, just gone, Makhachev fought. Makhachev is going to be the lightweight champion easily. Makhachev is someone I really, really, really want to fight. I think I could beat him. I think I got good rest and defense, and I think if I could just box him, I think I could just tear him up. Everyone tries to fight him like he is a normal fighter or a wrestler. He's not. He is a Russian sambo fighter, and you have to drown them. And they are very hard. It's literally like trying to drown a shark. So you have to make them uncomfortable.
I love that.
It's the same as the Khabib fight. Like, everyone fought Khabib where Khabib was comfortable. You have to make Khabib uncomfortable, and that is unbelievably hard. Unbelievably hard. It's like going into a strongman competition and trying to outlift them. So you have to find a way. But this is the thing, you just have to win, and they are very good at just winning. Like, Makhachev went out there, I don't think he threw a shot. I think he waited for Hooker to kick, timed it well, blast doubled him, and then as soon as he was down, Hooker accepted it. That was the end. Because there was no way coming up. There was no way he was letting him stand back up, because he's tightened the game so much that there is no holes. If you accept it, you're dead. Darren Elkins has that type of jiu-jitsu game, whereas Darren Elkins, if you accept a position with Darren Elkins, you are dead. You are finished. You are not getting back up. You watched his last fight. The guy the guy who beat him had 25 wins, and every one of his 25 wins he'd won in the first round. So the guy came out with the intention of knocking out Darren Elkins. Like, why? I'd never understood that. Like, you need to be watching what your opponent does and building a plan on your opponent does. Like, if I fought Darren Elkins, which I never would, heavyweight, and he's a good friend of mine, why you try and knock him out? It is literally like, it's like trying to kill a guy off for Halloween. Do you know what I mean? The one who can come back from the dead. It is. Just pop him and run for however long it is. Just run away from him. That's what Ryan Hall did. Ryan Hall kept like striking him, and then when he exchanged, he'd like try and leg lock him and pull guard, and then Elkins would stand back up, and he'd come back up, pop him, and then try and heel hook him again. Not with the intention to finish him, just to keep separating and winning the rounds. And it's like there is an extent where you want to beat everyone, but there is, like, that man is very, very, very tough to finish. Like, he will go out and come back awake before you even realise he's sleeping. That's how tough that man is. So, like, you just have to win. You just, that's the Olympics, that is the real Olympic spirit, which is you just learn how to beat people and how to win by the smallest margins.
I imagine you're not tapping then. similar to Jan Blachowicz in this past weekend, that it felt like that tap from when Glover sunk that under his neck was a very quick one. I'm not sure.
You don't need a choke.
If that was your opinion.
You don't tap the chokes.
I was going to say
the ref said to stop it before you die. But arm locks and knee and heel locks and things, you have to make a decision. You have to make a decision because
you either lose the joint or.
Well, it's not even that. It's like a heel hook that can end your career. An arm lock can, and like. It's like the same thing when people say about the oblique kicks, and they say, "Oh, oblique kicks should be removed from martial arts." They shouldn't. They shouldn't be removed. I want people to bring back kicks to the head when they're grounded opponent. Like I'm happy to bring it back because at the end of the day, that's what the referee's there for. I don't mind the referee on the weekend. One of the referees.
Oh yeah.
Oh my god.
Do you know what I mean? I don't think he'll ever ref UFC fight again. But the referee is your. I don't know. He's there to save your life. That's it is. Like you're in the referee's hands, and you always need to know that you're in capable hands. And like when you see like Mark Cordard and these people, like you're in very, very capable hands. So you can go out there and you can put everything on the line. Like limb snaps and different things, it all depends. Like if you're 10 seconds left there's 10 seconds left and someone's going to break your arm and you're up 3 rounds and you're winning a title eliminator and you know you're going to have time to recover, and it's your arm, then maybe, do you know what I mean, let it break. But if it's
just your arm, it's all good.
But the stakes are so high.
I fought a jiu-jitsu competition before I went to the Europeans, and before I went to Brazil. I was going to Brazil for 3 months to train when I was like 18, and I fought a competition against Bryn Jenkins, and Bryn was someone I knew about who was good jiu-jitsu, and I was winning on points, and there was 30 seconds left, and he hit me with an elbow elevation from guard, which you literally wrap and yank up, and I tore 3 ligaments in my elbow before I tapped, because it was 30 seconds left, and I was like, it's not going to snap, I got plenty of time. And then the first ligament popped, and he looked at me, and I was like, nah, and the second ligament popped, and then I could feel the bone lifting, and I was like, it's not worth me breaking my arm, so I tapped. But an MMA fight, I'd probably let it break. But it's a different mentality when you're in there. Like my stitches, this is the first fight because I had a stitch on my chin and a stitch under my eye from a scram, which required stitches. It's the first time they've ever given me anaesthetic before they stitch me up. Normally they just put a needle in, you don't feel any of it. Your adrenaline's going, and I talk even more nonsense.
I was going to ask you, like, obviously, you said earlier, there was no point where you were really rocked. Like, he was whacking you with some big shots. I was wondering, like, there were some moments where I thought you were definitely a little bit rocked, and I thought there were some like stumbles or anything.
I stumbled. My feet went under me in a few fights, but that was in a few of the shots. That wasn't to do with like he caught me with a good shot, and I was like. Like half
it wasn't a flash knockout.
It was just no, and it wasn't like, because there's 2 places. You either get sparked clean out where you go cold, or 3. There's one where you get hit where you'll get clipped hard and like something will go. So like Andre kicked me in the neck when I was like 21. And my one leg went dead in training, so the whole feeling just goes from your one leg, like the nerve goes. You don't fall. Just I like stumbled because my one leg had gone a little bit, and one of the coaches was behind me was like, "You okay?" And I was like, "Yeah, I'm fine." I was like, "Just my one leg's gone." And that's only one of the times I've ever been rocked in training. It's only been like, I think I've been in training. It's been about 3 occasions, 2 boxing and 1 with Andre, in the entire time I've been training. And then there's other times where you'll get hit, and because my feet weren't underneath me, because my footwork was so bad, I was just literally almost falling over, and they're hitting you with shots and pushing forwards, and it's like you're trying to get your feet underneath you to regain balance, and you're literally getting hit left and right. But there wasn't any times where I was like, I am in trouble.
Of course.
I don't know which way up is. I'm in trouble. It was just getting hit with shots where I was like, look, this doesn't look good. And I was like, I'm losing scores I don't need to take. And like, I bruise like old fruit. I bruise like old fruit. And if you look at the marks I had a mouse under my eye, which obviously is a little bit black. A mouse under my eye, which is nothing new for me. And I had a little scram under my eyelid, which again is nothing new for me. But I didn't really have any marks. Like there wasn't that big of shots that they really made a problem. So there is like the Mike Davis fight. So at one point in the Mike Davis fight, when my gum shield got knocked out, he broke his thumb in that round as well. So I think when he threw an overhand right, I'm pretty sure his thumb went in my eye because my one eye went completely white.
Oh shit!
I literally just seen white in my one eye, and that my gum shield flew out my mouth. And I remember I sort of like looked at the ref, and Mike was on it. Mike was looking for that finish, and that was a time where I wasn't rocked, but I thought I'm in trouble here. And then you see me come back, tighten up, and exchange and clip up with him. I'm pretty sure he did break his thumb in my eye. But like that's the times you're in trouble. This fight, there was no points where I thought I'm in trouble here. Or my striking coach said the same. There wasn't any points where he see me where he thought, shit, like you're in trouble. And like he's seen me get rocked before. So Janie Cox, who's a 25-2 boxer, Leading up to the Adam Proctor fight, actually, he caught me with a straight down the pipe, and he floored me, and I apparently hit the floor, bounced back up, tie clinched him, and walked into the ropes and was literally just clinched up on him, and he was laughing, like slapped me in the back of the head with a glove on, and I was half out.
Oh, wow.
Like I was rocked. Like I wasn't asleep, but I was asleep, standing up.
Yeah.
And I tied him up, and I said to my coach afterwards, I was like, tied him up well, or didn't I? And he was laughing, and he's like, he hit you with such a lovely left hand. I said, I don't know what he hit me with. I just know that I hit the floor and bounced back at my feet. And like those are the times when you're in trouble. And I haven't, in my whole career in MMA so far, touch wood, been caught with anything like that yet. It's going to come, it is going to come, but I'm tough enough to deal with it.
And do you know what? It definitely seems it, and it seems like also as well, when there were moments where David was putting it on you and throwing 4 or 5 punch combinations,
Where I was like this.
but you then, especially there was one in the third that was absolutely beautiful. He threw I think a 3 punch combination, and you timed your takedown
Yeah,
so
blast double it was.
beautifully. And
I don't like blast doubles either.
You lifted him so high and just slammed out, and it was such a beautiful takedown. I wanted to ask, is that again something that you're willing to put yourself through a little bit of damage so that you can time that takedown and shoot for it? Or
No, that was just sort of like me getting caught with strikes I shouldn't have been taken. I should have been out of position for. I was square, my hands were low, my chin was up in the air, and I had my mouth open trying to breathe. And those are just things you just learn to react to, and that's just from being high level wrestling. Those are just positions where you can deal with it and take it, but I don't want to be taking shots like that. Like I want clean performances. I want to be able to do the Max Holloway and be able to slip 9 punches, do you know what I mean? And I can't do it. It's just, again, tightening until you start seeing these things in performances.
Your head movement was actually really nice. There was one point me and Tom...
I slipped the overhand left and took the waist. Yeah.
Oh my God.
Should have argued for taking
beautiful.
down, or I should have counted off that. But I was just so fucking tired.
Really, your head movement was beautiful. I said there was another point where he threw 3 or 4. And, I was going to say, your head movement was great. Working out your neck. It was
Such a strong neck.
So we come out of that fight. We have the night after the fight. You've now come back to Wales, and so you've got two places that you're working on your game. You've got
Team Alpha Male,
you've
and
got
home,
and the gym at home. How does that sort of look going forward? Do you need to get to Alpha Male just for the competition at some point?
The sparring partners it is. So I'm gonna tighten up my game up until New Year's. I'll train all the way through. I won't holiday now. That's me. We push through Christmas, through New Year. We'll train right through. Get as much time in as possible. January I will head out to Team Alpha Male. Hopefully I'll be fit by then. Then I'll start increasing my fitness towards the end of January. Sort of camp house out, and then in February I should be about 8 weeks out from a fight. I'm hoping to fight around March.
Amazing. So
start Feb, end of Jan, we'll be about 8 weeks out with the house. And then my coach is going to come in about 6 weeks, 5 weeks out, finish the camp. Or pretty much start a camp. I want to do a 6-week camp, which is about perfect for me after I'm fit. And then that's 6 weeks of intense training. We'll take that to a fight and get a fight night performance bonus, come home for a few weeks. And then go back out and look for another fight.
Come home, eat
March,
some pizza,
June, and then November.
Chinese food.
a couple of Welsh cakes,
Try and cut down, because I do get fat. Like I get Ricky Hatton, my parents calling me, where my face just gets fat. But I don't think I'm quite that bad at the moment. I'm big, but I'm not too big.
Do you know what? I was going to say, obviously, I would love to know, what kind of thing, who you're maybe considering or who you're maybe thinking about wanting to fight in March.
No one at the moment.
There's no one in particular that
I don't have any aspirations of calling anyone out, only because I don't have the background to call people out. And this is just going to be sort of wait and see who Sean offers and go from there. And I don't really turn, I've never, I know people always say it, but I've never turned a fight down. I'm game to fight everyone. Like if Gaethje's name come up, I would love to fight Gaethje, but these are fights that I'm a long way away from. I literally just need to get another win. I'm 26, so like you start seeing people win titles at 33, 34. Obviously Glover or Glovier, whatever you say his name, won a title at what, 42. So you're starting to see people get a bit later. Like I know Poirier, and those are all in their 30s, mid 30s.
Exactly.
So you're starting to see people peak around mid 30s. So I've got a bit of time, and I just need to improve. I need to improve faster than I'm improving now. So all that means is getting back fit and healthy and getting back pushing. I'm gonna do a lot more boxing, a lot more with my Thai coach and different things. And because I'm almost at the point where my striking's clicking. I'm close. I'm not quite there yet, because you'll see it flare up in there, and as soon as you see that click, you're going to start seeing these finishes, and I'm close. I'm so close. So it's coming. It's coming.
Do you think, obviously, you know, we talked about Paddy earlier. You guys are similar in that he's just had his first fight. You know, he's up and coming. How do you feel? Would you be comfortable fighting
I'll fight anyone.
The UK fighters?
I'll fight anyone.
Amazing.
I don't care.
Amazing.
I have no friends in this division.
That's awesome.
I'll fight training partners. I'll fight anyone. Like it doesn't matter.
Do you know? I think that's again something to be respected. When we, you know, there's definitely people who have not in the past. You know, we've heard recently Tony Ferguson, you know, not accepting certain fights and certain people like that. You know, so. I think the fact that you're willing to fight anyone is absolutely amazing, and it speaks volumes about, again, your character.
The only difference I'd say when you talk about Tony Ferguson and stuff like that, there are guys where they're close to the top, but they're not quite. He's not quite there, and he's aged. Like different people age differently. Like 100%. You see Dustin Poirier, he's aged well. Max Holloway's aged well, where they've got better as they go on. Habib left early because he at the age he was, he felt like he felt he was peaking. Tony, I think, is a little bit too past the point. He took it so he took so much earlier on, and he did so much stupid training that his clock is pretty much done. And that's why he turns fights down, because for him it's the same as the cowboy Cerrone. Same as him. Like he's at that point where he's done so much, and there's so much miles on the clock that there's certain fights he needs and certain fights he shouldn't take, and he still takes fights that he shouldn't really take. Like the last couple of fights he's had, I think he's on a 5-fight losing streak. Like these are just fights where he probably either needs to retire or he needs a good win. So like again, I'd love to fight Cerrone because I think he brings that vet status. He's on a losing streak, and I'd love to give him a last ride, but I'm at no point where I can call someone like that.
You'd ride him one last time.
Sounds terrible. No, one last ride to war in it. One last fight. But like that's the thing is like I'm no one at the moment. I'm an unranked fighter with 1 win, 1 no contest, and 1 loss in the UFC. And like my record before doesn't matter. None of it matters. All that matters is your record in the UFC.
Yeah. Well, I think. It seems like from the UFC's perspective, and you get a lot of the energy from the UFC from how the announcers are viewing fights, and it seems like the UFC very much has their eye on you, very much has hopes for you, and has a plan to see how far you're going to take it. So I expect they're going to give you some decent matchups.
Some good shit coming up.
Yeah,
I reckon
I need to make the most of them as well. Like we talk about this where like people have made the most. Paddy did, Jack did. They made the most of their entrances in UFC. Ian, Gary, I think is going to do the same this weekend. They've given opportunities and they made the most of it. I didn't. They gave me that entry with the Mike Davis fight against a tough opponent, and I made that. I didn't do enough. Easy as that. So I've picked the hard path, but again, hard paths make better fighters. So.
They also end up being a lot more satisfying when you get to the
It doesn't matter about that. It's all that matters is getting to the end. It's the thing is like if you can take a cheat and you can cut to the end, it doesn't matter. Like Cyril Gane literally got there that quick. They had to throw some people in his way because he was going too quick, and he still tore his way to the top.
Yeah, I think. I mean, again, it seems like you're being. I know why you're being hard on yourself, but the performances themselves. There's a reason why there's still a shining light on you. And
of course.
You are 1-1-1 in the UFC. 100%. There's an absolute
like a fence post.
Yeah.
Well, it's 1-1-0-1. If you don't count it, 1 would be a draw. So it's 1-1-0-1. So more like Morse code, during.
The digit on the left, which is wins, I think is going to start moving up.
Of course.
I fully agree. Hey, do you know what? This has been absolutely incredible to have you in studio and to be able to talk to you in person today. Tom and I are not only huge fans, like I said, massively inspired by you and just your mentality and who you are as a person. For such a young lad to have such a strong head on your shoulders is absolutely incredible to see, and we will be behind you every step of the way. I can't even tell you, I called Tom midway through the fight and I'm like, this is crazy! Oh my God, Tom, this fight's wild! I was like, I'm sweating so much over here, you know.
My mother was having the breakdown, wasn't she?
Yeah, I mean, it was across the phone line. We were like, he's got to take him down, keep him fucking down.
Just going nuts, but honestly, just so thankful to have you here.
Yeah, thank you. No, I appreciate it, and I appreciate being on. And I know we have run out of tape because I probably talked for way too long. But yeah, thanks again for having me on. And yes, pleasure. Anytime.
Shout out your socials, your sponsors, anything like that. Yeah. Please feel free.
So sponsor-wise. SD Sealant's big one. Watch the Whales, obviously always blinging me up with Holies, but they're my two big ones. And PP Builders, CCS Scaffolding, they're my long-time sponsors since I was 15, so they've been supporting me all the way through. Also, there's a couple of new ones just got on board. Can't remember what it's called.
We'll tag them.
We'll tag them. But yeah, I've just got on board with a recycling plant that are going to support and help out. So that's awesome. I should really remember the name. I think it's GS something scaffold, whatever it's called, Scrapyard. So yeah, thanks for the support, and yeah, thanks for having me on.
Honestly, it's been an absolute pleasure. Like I said, truly honoured to be in your presence.
GJL. The boss has told me GJL, so that's perfect. So please check them out on Instagram. And yeah, they are the only scrapyard in the UK that can scrap and recycle cars. So
that's amazing. And for you on Instagram, you're Mason Jones
95. Yeah, almost up to 26,000. So please give me a boost. We're close. Also check out my YouTube. We're trying to get more and more on it. It's hard, you know, how it is to film things day in, day out, but we're getting there. So yeah, check me out, my socials, everything's tagged, my website's there as well, so you can check that out. But yeah, thanks for having me on, and it's been a pleasure.
Amazing. As always, we're Homie and the Dude, the father and son MMA and TTRPG team. If you can, guys, hit us with the Holy Trinity. Subscribe to the YouTube. Follow on Twitter. It's where you can interact with us most. I'll be answering loads of comments and stuff like that. And if you can, follow on Instagram or Facebook, whichever one of those suits you best.
Don't forget to share the video as well, because that helps.
Yeah, exactly.
Share it up.
Yeah. Thank you so much for watching, and we'll catch you in the next one. Mason, thanks so much.
Pleasure.
Thanks, man.
Thank you, brother.
Play, man. All right. Hey, guys. Thank you so much for watching Homie and the Dude today. We hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, please hit us with the Holy Trinity. Go follow us on Twitter, subscribe to the YouTube channel, and like the Facebook. It's the best way that you can help us out at the moment. Hope you have an awesome day. Thanks for watching, guys.